programs like National Optical Fiber Network that is bringing fiber to every village, and smart cities kind of programs is really helped to look at new way of using the technology like IoT, cloud, the other computing and communications, especially 4G, 3G kind of technologies, to enhance the quality of life in the smart cities projects. There's 100 smart city projects and so on. While we don't say that all projects have come to a conclusion, but there is definitely a greater awareness among how technology could be used to the effective way of improving the quality of life of the people. Say it is also now people are talking about smart villages, right? It's the same concept is being extended to the villages as well. So Make in India is one of the things which I think is an important thing we talked about. And recent thing like our Honorable Prime Minister has introduced the self-reliance, that is Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan. So under this program, they encourage and give emphasis on indigenous technologies, right? So one side, the digital economy is Digital India initiative has empowered the citizens, and a lot of activities are happening. The core components of Digital India, like digital infrastructure, digital services, and digital literacy, they're all being given importance. And so this is increasing the use of technology in terms of smartphones, IoT, and cloud kind of technologies in various applications. But that the use of technology now, especially computing and communication in the internet era, is also facing the cyber attacks. So as we continue to enhance the use of technology, increasing attacks, cyber attacks, and the new threat canvas is happening, especially the technologies like IoT is actually people are talking about, is it Internet of Things or Internet of Threat? So this is the kind of situation we are all in, and definitely we need to look at the government of India is also taking several steps, and it is also trying to see the private-public partnership. So we'll see some of these things during our presentation. This is just to give you a snapshot of the cyber threats are not for the individual level, not only for the individual level, not only for organization or enterprises. It is at a national level now. It is say it's a cyber terrorism, or call it as web defacement or attacks on critical infrastructure. These are all happening at national level, and at organization level, we are finding the similar problems, but at a lower level. Website in defacement is happening at organization levels. Denial of service, if you see, it's happening at all levels. And individuals are getting affected due to the latest problems of ransomware kind of malware, where the individual's valuable information is encrypted, and the individuals are asked to make payment in terms of Bitcoin. If it's not done, either you lose the valuable data, or there could be some kind of reputation problem due to the valuable data getting exposed or getting given to the competitors. So these are some of the things. I'm not going through every possible attack. It's just to say that attacks are not just confined to either individual or organization or national. It is to everyone. So it's a national problem. So this is very well understood, and you can see the trend. I'm not saying the latest attacks here. Stuxnet is one thing, opened an eye of critical infrastructure like nuclear sector and power sector, and that kind of telecom, all such critical infrastructure areas which were earlier thought of away from the cyber attacks. Is this particular Stuxnet attack that happened on the Iranians uranium enrichment facility, which damaged 1,000 centrifuges, which is unique in its character, because the attack was not the entire operation of the process control automation using the PLCs, everything, front panels, everything was showing normal operation, but behind the scene, the actual data was changed such a way that these centrifuges were moved very fast or very slow continuously to create wear and tear, and so that break the large number of centrifuges to almost closing the uranium plant. So this is considered to be state attack, It's not just the some individuals done, and it was done very good with a great planning. And it is also considered to be a supply chain attack because there is a total gap. It's not connected to the internet. It's using a thumb drive through a supplier. It's a software which is modified some Windows operating system, which has finally gone into the PLC kind of a thing, and it so happened. So that is one important thing. After which you find a lot of attacks on the number of installations, power sector and nuclear power plants and so on. And that is one example. And so SCADA systems are getting the attack. So now second version is the IoT devices. So this is, there are a number of attacks happen. Mirai attack is considered to be the most popular because it has taken the all open telnet ports on the various devices having the IP addressable devices such as video recorders, routers, IP cameras, and many smart equipment, and able to see that the default addresses, they were able to use the default passwords which were not changed by the user, and using that they were able to attack a botnet Mirai attack onto the DNS service provider, DIN, and that has resulted in stopping of operations services by the most important financial owners like PayPal, Twitter, Netflix, Spotify, etc., on stopping online services. So that is once again a kind of greater impact happened due to the IoT type of attacks, IoT devices. So there is everyone's in the cyber security arena, everyone's attention has moved into the IoT device because you can't stop using IoT devices. The way now machine-to-machine interactions, and it's not just the people internet, it is things internet. It has become so we can't stop it, and so but we have to live with it. But we have to consider this as an important area in cyber security. Now, as I mentioned to you, ransomware attacks are becoming very. I think it's growing. You can see the right side graph shows that 2017 onwards, which started at 5 billion, expected to reach 20 billion US dollars of ransomware attacks expected in the. This is the curve that has happened, and here what we see now is the latest. We can see in India also some of our power utilities were having the ransomware attack. It is as per the power utilities. We understand they had backup, and so the operations didn't affect, and they were able to have the data, and so they didn't make any payment as desired by the ransomware attackers. So this is something very important. I feel national level, National Cyber Security Coordinator, they were all focusing on the importance of addressing ransomware and looking at how we can do the. It's not that attack happened. How do you do before even attack happens? How do you take care of the? How do we identify that ransomware attack is going to happen? What ransomware does is it will actually encrypt the user files, the victim's files on the hard disk. So for that, that means the software will have an encryption algorithm. So if we are able to identify a software that is coming with an encryption algorithm, so then we will be able to really probably stop the thing. So that kind of a research is being advised as well as encouraged by the organizations like Ministry of Electronics and IT or the National Cyber Security, National Secretariat for Cyber Security, and so on. And now we are into the pandemic area, and every one of us now we are also on the Google Meet, and many people are using different platforms, and we find that there are video bombing kind of attacks are happening, and that was in fact in one of the popular, the most popular today used platform is having such attacks more. That's why MHA has come out with a clear advisory, and which is available even on their website. How do you take care of these video bombing and use proper passwords and make sure that every user is registered and you're able to have a control. So a lot of tips were given on the MHS website, and that should be followed. So this is latest thing because we are all now on online. It is name it education or health services or e-commerce or e-governance. Everyone now is doing their operations on using the online platforms. So we need to take care of such new kind of attacks. So we see, so these are all this is the situation that is, increasing attacks, increasing threat canvas, new types of attacks is continually growing. It's quite dynamic. Cybersecurity attacks is quite dynamic. So now the solutions also need to be dynamic. We can't have some static solution. Normally we say that just having a firewall and antivirus doesn't solve. That's what we normally say. It requires a kind of defense in depth kind of thing. But that is one aspect. We also know that one of the softwares provided by the very prominent organization to various countries, intelligence agencies, itself had the back trapdoors, and they were able to have the entire information, right? So that means depending on another country's software that is developed for safeguarding our own systems is also not, we can't trust. These are the days of zero trust. We should not trust anything, everything. You should have a suspicion, then you have to address the particular solution. So now, as in India, such a big country, vast potential of information technology personnel, skilled people. So we and cybersecurity solutions also would require a lot of software development. I think we have the required capability, but the only thing is it has to be channelized and see that we develop a lot of indigenous cybersecurity solutions. So that is the kind of thing we are looking at. This is just once again to give statistics that we are having so many users, internet users and mobile users already reached close to 700 million users, and it is expected to grow continually. So the 7 lakh cyber attacks during 2020 noted, and so there is a continuous growth. Even during the pandemic, we had attacked the coronavirus themed cyber attacks, new way of things. So nobody is, left. Even the World Health Organization website was also attacked by the coronavirus themed cyber attack. So we need to, and most of the healthcare organizations, state and local government, and also social engineering attacks on the people, giving some kind of a tips on coronavirus and actually making them click on the links, which would actually lead to some malware kind of things, which would affect the operations. So a lot of things we see in newspapers every day. What's happening? Like even we had some malware attack at Kudankulam nuclear reactor, which of course we come to know that it is attack happened, but the IT OT operations are different, and there is an air gap, and the attack hasn't crossed the air gap. So that is good news. But we also see other SIM card swap fraud happened. Many Bangaloreans lose cash. So a lot of cyber crimes are happening, but still there is MHA says that FIRs are not registered. That is the latest news. So we also see the people siphoning from farmers' account kind of a thing. So a lot of things we see every day. Open the newspaper, somewhere or other, you will find some type of cyber attack. So most of the cyber attacks happen due to probably not following the basic rules of or lack of awareness in many cases. So it requires, sometimes even the very educated people also get they're trapped into the social engineering kind of attacks. So this is a kind of thing happening way back in 2004 or so, when this is just after covering showing a road show. Some kind of thing came in newspaper, just to say that it was way back in 2000 plus. Local where is more trusted. That's the Hyderabad agency developing software. That was CDAC Hyderabad at that point of time. It's just to say that the indigenous solutions are required. That need was felt all along. Small step. We way back, even before this, so many cyber attacks were happening. Internet security and encryption. Seminar was organized by IEEE Bangalore and Indian Telephone Industries Limited Bangalore and Department of Electronics. You can see the rightmost person, Ramakrishnan. He was senior director and founder member of ERNET, the first education research network in India, who was instrumental. And also center, you can see Dr. Chakravarti, great Chakravarti, who was from Defense Services, and he has been contributing those days into cyber security. You can see Professor Veni Madhavan and some industry people also. This is just to give you the security. When we talk about, there are 8 dimensions. We talk about access control, which is very important, the aspect, and authentication. That is, you need to give tight access control in many cases. Somebody asked me in cloud what you have to do. You have to make sure that the access control should be very tight. Authentication mechanism should be proper, and non-repudiation, data confidentiality, and communication security, data integrity, availability, privacy. These are all 8 dimensions, and there are a lot of threats. Threats are like destruction, corruption, removal, disclosure, interruption kind of attacks are there. So in general, we say that whatever we do, we need to look at 5 things. Detection, that is, we need to detect if some attack is happening, and you must be able to prevent if detection even before it attacks. So prevention mechanisms and protection, like firewall is a protection device. Prevention is IPS, intrusion prevention system is a preventing device. Response and recovery, that is, you after it happened, how do you respond? How do you analyze? So, for example, the analysis like security analytics, like forensics, all those things would come into that. And for example, there is a hard disk drive, which is how do you recover the do the forensics and get the data out of it. So that kind of technologies like cyber forensics comes under that. Crypto analysis, how do you analyze and try to break the systems. So all these kind of technologies would come into this. Training and awareness becomes it encompasses all these things. So we need to give a lot of importance to the training and awareness. So this is just, I would like to only say that this slide has come here as a stranger here because IT systems and control systems. Just now we talked about critical infrastructure and attacks like Stuxnet. What the difference is in information system, it's more or less got used to the cyber attacks and how to respond and all that. And we have a lot of patch management, online patch management, and it is also technology keeps changing every 2-3 years and so on. Whereas in case of control systems, most of the technologies, they expect to work 10 to 20 years. Like if you talk about nuclear power reactor or the electricity board, station, substation equipment, or remote terminal units, SCADA systems, they all expected to work at least 10 years, if not 20 years. So and they don't have this culture of patch management and this kind of things. So how do we do all those things? It's a challenge. And now if IoT gets connected to this control systems, which we are now calling it as OT systems, operational technology. So how do we address? And we are also bringing a new thing, cyber physical systems. For critical infrastructure areas, there are a number of areas. And how do you address the cyber physical systems? Because the critical infrastructures are part of the cyber physical systems in a way. Cyber physical systems covers where linking the physical world with the virtual world. And so there is a need for us to focus. So the government of India has come out with a specific organization under NTRO, NCIIPC, which is National Critical Information Infrastructure Protection Organization. So that is taking care of most of the important sectors like the power sectors, telecom, banking, that kind of sectors which are under critical infrastructure, water, power, transportation, financial transactions, and telecommunications. These are the 5 they are considering. Of course, defense. So with all these things, what we need to say is just once again to emphasize that the defense in depth is an important aspect. At every layer, we need to have a security aspect to be considered. So that is what we're trying to see, so that we can have the cyber security, effective cyber security, and there will be the systems will be more resilient and will be, even after the attack, we must be able to come back to normal operations. So that continuity of operation of the organization is important. So the right side, we are also just talking about various cybersecurity research areas, foundations, application-centric, technology-centric, and attack-centric applications. So you can see some of the things like formal methods are very important in foundations. When you develop a solution, you make sure that security by design. So that requires application of formal methods. So the research, a lot of research is happening using the formal methods, and security by design, and similarly privacy by design. So these are all important aspects to be considered. So we see some of these points at a later point of time. I'm not going into the every thing, but these are all important areas. If you say attack-centric, zero-day defense, how do you defend zero-day attacks? So most likely today we have the technology like artificial intelligence using machine learning, deep learning techniques. So they are effectively utilized to see the behavioral, the patterns that are happening and trying to identify whether there is a possibility of a zero-day attack, which is otherwise we are only trying to have the signatures after the attacks happen and studying those attacks and creating signatures. But new attacks, how do you address is a very important research area in attack-centric things. And moving target defense. As I told you, the security, as the attackers are not static, our solutions also can't be static. So we need to have a moving target defense, more dynamic solutions. How do we arrive at them? So some of the government initiatives I will tell, these are mostly, as we just said, that Digital India kind of a thing is leading to cyber-oriented economy, and it is needing the cyber security in more focus areas. And these are addressed by some of the government initiatives like Cyber Security R&D Division from Ministry of Electronics, and ICERT, Computer Emergency Response Team of India, Controller of Certifying Authorities. Also such programs, National Cyber Security Coordinator, that is started in 2015 after realizing that there is a need of a very central organization for cyber security exclusive and security awareness programs, which are leading to finally indigenous solutions, skilled manpower, and security aware citizens, so infrastructure test beds and so on. So this is just to tell you the importance of cyber security felt by Honorable Prime Minister and indicated during the global conference on cyberspace. So this is the most popular slide I use in most of my presentations because it tells you the importance the country is giving to this area, and every one of us probably how to put our weight in enhancing the cybersecurity related activity. So I just quote, the nation should ensure that the digital space doesn't become a playground of dark forces. Cyber attacks are a significant threat to the global community. We need to ensure that the vulnerable section of the society doesn't fall prey to it, unquote. Honorable Prime Minister Sri Narendra Modi. So this is something tells us about the importance of things. And Honorable Prime Minister also has arrived at the Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan, which I mentioned earlier. So this is an indication that we need to really work on our own indigenous solutions. Self-reliance is important. Cybersecurity in the entire IT/OT environment or Digital India environment, cybersecurity is the most important self-reliant technology. That is, more indigenous technologies has to be arrived at. The Cyber Surakshit Bharat, a program was launched by Ministry of Electronics, and this jointly with their own division, National E-Governance Division, they are trying to see the public-private partnership, and they are trying to organize a lot of competitions where they are encouraging the startup companies to come out with innovative solutions and see how those solutions would help in effectively addressing these cyber threats. So these are some of the things which CERT is really an important intervention in 2004. That is, that Carnegie Mellon has the first CERT, Computer Emergency Response Team, and a similar one was established in CERT in the Ministry of Electronics. So there, the objective was to identify the various attacks that are happening and also various vulnerabilities that are in operating systems, applications, etc., and create an advisory and share with all agencies so that everyone is able and give the appropriate solutions. For example, a patch management for a particular kind of cyber attack in a particular operating system or a particular web browser, so on and so forth. So all such things, if you go into the certain website, you will find almost every possible attack that is happening latest and trying to see what is the countermeasure everyone can take. Then I mentioned to you about National Critical Information Infrastructure Protection Center, which is coming under NTRO, which is addressing various sectors of critical infrastructure. They're focusing on that, and the complete, they are connected to these sectors and trying to get the timely information, trying to advise them with various remedies and solutions, and also preventive measures. One of the key things that are happening at various government departments is appointment of a chief information security officer. In fact, Tamil Nadu government is very proactive in putting in all line department, each department should have its own chief information security officer under their cyber security architecture they have designed for Tamil Nadu government. That's a very nice thing. The present IT secretary has really taken a very proactive action and has been doing that. And all CISOs were identified, and they are also established CERT, Tamil Nadu CERT, Computer Emergency Response Team, and also they made Security Operations Center, Next Generation Security Operations Center also they are establishing. So these are some of the things in Tamil Nadu we are finding, and similar things are happening in various states like different Maharashtra, Tamil Nadu, AP government, Telangana government, and so on and so forth. A lot of centers of excellence are also coming. There are some crisis management plans are also government arriving at. I told you the CERT also has come out with Cyber Swachhata Kendra, that is most cyber hygiene kind of things, trying to see cleaning bot used for malware analysis and detecting malicious programs, etc. So they have also provided a lot of indigenous tools developed to be made available. For example, there is a USB Pratirod, and there is a app Samvid. There are JS Guard, some of these tools to secure your browsers, secure your computer systems from the malware, from the USBs. So that kind of tools are made available on the website. You can see in certain, if you go to the Cyber Swachhata Kendra, you will find some of such tools. So we also have a cyber security industry participation. That's very important. Actually, government alone cannot address the entire cyber security, canvas. It requires the industry. It requires every stakeholder to take part. NASSCOM has come forth and they established the Cyber Security Task Force, and they have their council, Data Security Council of India, which is very active, and they were actually promoting a lot of indigenous development through the startup companies. They're also giving a lot of training activities. You can see that during this particular pandemic situation, almost on a day-to-day basis, they have cybersecurity related webinars happening in Data Security Council of India. So their expectation is we should gain the market share. It's not just only meeting the Indian requirements. We should have a global share of 10% of by 2025, and also trained people to generate human resources of 1 million trained manpower, certified and skilled cybersecurity professionals. So these kind of requirements were envisaged by NASSCOM, and there is a giant working group with public-private partnership established by the National Secretariat for Cybersecurity, and we also find CII, Confederation of Indian Industry, arriving at cybersecurity and resilience of cyberspace. Recently, the task force was focusing on the cybersecurity policy for SME sectors as one of the things, and number two was the public-private partnership. These two, the focus 2020-21 task force is focusing from CIA. And of course, we know Indian IT Act 2000 and 2008 has led the Controller of Certifying Authority, which is having the total PKI infrastructure and safeguarding the digital signatures. They are focusing on providing the digital certification, document signing, etc. A lot of services, and they identified certification authorities and various from industry and government. So around 5 to 6 certifying authorities are there. So I think some of these things I mentioned. NTRO is, of course, a government organization focusing on the various governmental requirements and generating the infrastructure and also human resources. With the help of CERT and NTRO, there also NCCC is coming, National Cyber Security infrastructure. That is another thing which I will be covering later. MeitY is also taking part in that. These are some NCCC, National Cyber Coordination Center, which is to create a situational response to various cyber attacks. So how do you respond? The complete infrastructure is being built. The first stage is completed. And we also know that for data protection law, the bill, the draft report is finalized by Justice B.N. Sri Krishna Committee, and it is awaiting the Parliament's nod for becoming an act. And that becomes a very important. I think everyone is waiting for such a data protection law. We know European Union has the GDPR, and we also need an Indian data protection law, which is very essential. So everyone is looking for that to happen. It's expected to come any day. And now NCSC is also working on National Cyber Security Strategy 2020. That is actually, it has taken inputs from various stakeholders, and now it's almost finalized the final draft, and it will be going for the clearance. So with that, there will be a national cyber security strategy for the country, covering all aspects, like right from the policy, the auditing mechanisms, and various infrastructure that is to be built. Everything would come as part of this fund. This is just a snapshot of various ministries who are involved in cybersecurity side in their own way. You can see that MeitY is more into the technology kind of things, and also some regulatory mechanisms like CCA, Control Draft Certifying Authority. STQC is providing standard testing, quality control, is providing the test facilities, common criteria kind of test facilities in some of their labs at various levels. And cybersecurity R&D, which is actually our theme of this talk. This cybersecurity R&D group, working group, is an important unit under MeitY, which is actually encouraging research and development, indigenous R&D products in various areas, right from the end system security to cyber forensics to mobile security, SCADA, critical infrastructure security, or crypto analysis. So different areas of cyber security, cloud security, and so on and so forth. They are actually funding for all novel ideas that are coming from academic R&D labs and industry also. There is another division, cybersecurity law and policy. So they are focusing more on the IT Act and the related activities. NCCC, we have already indicated. These are various units. This structure is not any hierarchy. Here, just to say that these are all the organizations working. And also ISCA is an important program as a human resource development activity under the Ministry of Electronics. ISCA stands for Information Security Education and Awareness. You find it's a very interesting program. Lot of awareness generation to up to PhD level of encouragement of the education side. Of all aspects of cyber security is covered under this. Almost all IITs are part of it. All NITs are part of it. All CDAC centers and all NELET centers are all working. Almost close to 100 institutes. High-level institutes like IITs are resource centers, whereas other centers are all called as participating institutes. They're all having their own terms of reference to create cyber security professionals at postgraduate level, and some encourage research and have the PhD programs, and also encourage people to publish papers abroad in conferences and provide the travel, that kind of funds, so on. So, and the most successful part of this is the awareness program. You find that in many of the institutes, right from the children to all classes of people, this particular ISCA program is providing the awareness programs. And I think they have met almost lakhs of people now. And the lot of content is available. If you go to the infosec.in site, infosecawareness.in website, you will find lot of content, which is, you have no copyright, you can download and use it. So you can use it for the academic purposes, you can use it for promotion, so promotion of cyber security, and basically it encompasses the idea of how safely you can use internet, a common man. That was the basic theme under which it's being done. So NELET is part of it. CDAC is developing a lot of R&D solutions. I will just have a slide later. 13 we spoke about. Cyber Swachhata Kendra is under that. National Informatics Center, which is taking care of national infrastructure and which is providing the high-speed network to all academic R&D labs, is indirectly providing the cyber infrastructure for the cyber security requirements. In fact, they are encouraging to come out with solutions like virtual private networks, integrated threat management appliances like UTM kind of solutions, and so on and so forth. So the other ministries in their own way, Ministry of Finance, they have their own, under RBI, SEBI is having its own mechanisms, and IDRBT, that is a training and development institute under RBI, and National Payment Corporation of India. They are all working on security framework, payment security frameworks, and various financial organizations. What are all the solutions to be done? All these organizations are working. The MHA side, a lot of law enforcement agencies are working, and they are MHA side, they are also establishing the cyber forensics labs at state and central level. Ministry of Defense, they have the Department of Defense Cyber Authority, tri-services, they have come together. Earlier they had individual cyber authority. So now they have the Defense Cyber Agency for all Air Force, Navy and Army. Together they have the single DCYA, tri-services, working on that. And lab side, DRDO is the department which is where we have the Center for Artificial Intelligence and Robotics labs and System Analysis Group lab and Anurag. They're all in some way, they're working on cyber security solutions, or they're providing the testing facilities for the government developed systems. So there are various angles to that. One of the key things I would like to mention before I forget is cyber security testing is very important. That is, if I have a solution, I want to test it. There's not enough infrastructure in India. That's an important area, and also it's a great opportunity to grow because we have for the defense requirements from the DRDO labs, but for the commercial systems, we don't have enough testing facilities. So we need to have somebody. If you want a solution, they will say that it should be FIPS 142 standard. But how do we get that certification? There is no really authorized testing center in India. You have to go abroad to get the certification, which is very expensive. So these are certain things which we need to consider while we look at our indigenous R&D. If I develop indigenous R&D solutions, parallelly I should also enhance my test systems, test facilities. So that is another important thing. Under the PMO office, we have the Department of Atomic Energy. BARC has its own, because they have everything indigenous. So all the cyber, whatever information technology solutions they have developing their own cyber security solutions. And Department of Space also they focus on that. And we have the NSA, under which we have already spoken about NSCS, NTRO and all that, NCIAPC also. And we also have Office of PSA, Principal Scientific Advisor, where their gambit is the entire science and technology. If you know the SETS, that is the lab from which I am presently working, this is the dream of our late beloved President Dr. Kalam. When he was the Principal Scientific Advisor to Government of India, he felt the need in way back in 2000 that there should be an exclusive cyber security R&D center. So that is how the idea he has initiated with the expert committee. And later on, it was implemented by Dr. R. Chidambaram, the next PSA. And presently, Professor Vijay Raghavan, PSA, is continuing to provide the support to the SETS for the long-term research. We are in SETS, it's mainly focusing on cryptology, hardware security for a long-term requirements of the nation. So that I'll give you a few details later. So this is just to give you the various ministries. Ministry of Science and Technology is also playing a vital role. Under Department of Science and Technology, TIFAC has come out with a number of documents for the futuristic cybersecurity requirements in the area of critical infrastructure, in the area of cloud security, in the area of IoT. In all these things, they have arrived at the documents with a lot of expert groups joined, and they develop. I hope these documents are made available, or they would be making available. So they also have the integrated cyber physical systems program, in which they are focusing on quantum computing, and in that quantum key distribution, which falls under cyber security, is also considered. And under the DST, we have a cyber CSIR lab, Fourth Paradigm Institute, which is also working on the dark web and trying to provide solutions at transport layer security problems and so on and so forth. So we have the Ministry of External Affairs also providing the connectivity with the other countries, signing MOUs, like for example Israel, which is most popular country having the highly sophisticated cybersecurity solutions. So we have an MOU. India has an MOU. So we need to exploit such MOUs with advanced countries to see whether we will be able to gain some knowledge by collaborating either through academic institutes or R&D or industries. So that is actually a big picture of the nation. So probably I didn't mention every thing, but my objective of telling is it is not just the Ministry of Electronics and IT, it's not just the Ministry of Finance, it is encompassing every ministry. In fact, cyber security has become the need of every government department. As I initially told you, it is the need of everyone. It's not only the nation, enterprise, and individual, right? So that is the emphasis for this now. And that is what government said. But there are so many organizations. Today we are here having this talk organized by IEEE, ACM, and CSI, right? They have been putting their might in promoting the importance of the cybersecurity through various seminars, conferences, technology events. So this is IET. Recently, they have established their own center of excellence where we are helping them in some way. And there is an Indian National Academy of Engineering who are also working. Industry side, I mentioned to you, NASCOM, DSI, DSCI, CAI are working. And there is a startup ecosystem. Very good solutions are coming from the startup industry. A number of industries have come with very innovative solutions. So they are being evaluated now. They are all recent and they are getting evaluated now. Academic institutes like I mentioned, IITs, IIITs, NITs, they are doing a lot of research, and I'm sure that some of this academic research would result into solutions and products in due course of time. ISI's focus is there is a ISI is RC Bose Center is there, and at the University of Hyderabad we have the CR Rao Institute, Advanced Institute of Mathematics, Statistics. They're all working on cryptology area in a big way. And we have standard bodies who are looking at cybersecurity standards like Bureau of Indian Standards. Of course, international organizations where BIS is associating with them, like ISO and IEC, and trying to see whether adopt or modify based on the Indian requirements. For telecom side, we have the Telecom Standard Development Society of India, which is also working on cybersecurity standards. And a lot of centers of excellence established. It's only a small list. Data Security of Council of India has established in Telangana, and IDRBT has its own cyber center of excellence, and KTech for Karnataka, West Bengal, and Digital Forensics Center of Excellence in Digital Forensics in Tamil Nadu, and so on. Right. So a lot of states have realized the importance of establishing centers of excellence in cybersecurity, and also establishing cyber forensics labs. That's going on. Sorry. Am I going back? Sorry. Just. So, as I indicated, the cybersecurity policy on at Red Fort, our Honorable Prime Minister announced that India will have its own cybersecurity policy shortly. So that is once again to say that the importance is for cybersecurity is happening at the highest level. So the MAITI is organizing some cybersecurity grant challenges, encouraging the industry to participate and have a lot of cash prizes and support for such developmental activities through the Cybersecurity Grant Challenge Program, jointly with the industry, that is Data Security Council of India, Ministry of Electronics and IT is organizing. That is just to say that in the ecosystem of cybersecurity, government and also industry trying to find the ways of doing and encourage the innovation. These are some of the areas and products that are being funded by Ministry of Electronics. From their website I could get. Early warning based on DNS traffic analysis for network situational awareness, cyber forensics. They have established a Center of Excellence of Cyber Forensics in CDAC Trivandrum, which is, in fact, CDAC Trivandrum in turn is establishing cyber forensics labs with their tools, plus the commercial and open source tools for various state government, police, cyber police departments. And also they have funded for the endpoint security, like application whitelisting, application and device control, etc. Mobile device security, network security, SCADA, password recovery tools, stegen analysis tools. This is stegen analysis Center of Excellence is CEDA Kolkata. So they have developed a lot of stego check kind of tools where whether anything embedded in the video or the images, any secret messages, to analyze that, the stegen analysis tools were used. And also face recognition systems to recognize the certain events in the large data from large databases. That is also a priority area. So in addition to that, they are funding in the next 5 years the AI-based threat intelligence, 5G security, IoT security, vulnerability remediation and assurance, some of these things. And of course, the quantum becomes important. So the quantum cryptography as well as the post-quantum cryptography. So these are certain things which I probably, depending on the time, I would be covering some of these things. So they are also looking at capacity building and enhancement of skills in the area of cybersecurity, in addition to the products development. This is a kind of a cybersecurity technology stack by the Ministry of Electronics. Also seeing, you can see that they are emphasizing on financial security stack and general security technology stack, where a number of aspects like next generation network security, next generation firewalls, so the AI-based tools, machine learning-based intrusion detection systems, all these kind of things are coming into the security technology stack as a national priority. And this is just to give you that MAITI is its own R&D, cybersecurity R&D program is covering most of the important R&D initiatives, supporting them. So those who are interested to get funding can look at that. This is the CMAX lab, that is Fourth Paradigm Institute now it is called as. They are working in using the high performance computing. They are trying to look at the cybersecurity solutions in the dark web as well as the using the transport layer level attacks, new methods they're finding. So this gives you CDAC centers. You can see the number of centers, each has their own focus areas. Bangalore is working on cryptanalysis, on network SCADA, HPC, because system software they are developing. So they are trying to look at cloud security, especially the co-located VMs and what kind of attacks can happen in such situations. They were trying to work on IoT security. They have already built IoT solutions for the smart city. So they're also adding IoT security solutions using the lightweight cryptography algorithms. There is a DNS security. It's a big program. Actually, they signed an MOU with the internet agency for the immediately not getting, but they have signed an MOU with the international organization, and they're working with them closely. But they are also working with the Indian Institute of Science to arrive at some DNSSEC using. First thing is promoted use of DNSSEC, and then also develop DNS security related solutions, because that is one of the key things on critical infrastructure attack. So that is another as. And they also established the FIPS 142 lab jointly with Indian Institute of Science, where a model lab is established now. It is expected that it will be replicated by STQC labs, which will be able to do the crypto module validation as well as crypto algorithm validation. Both validations, FIPS 142 lab will be there. I think it will be enhanced further to FIPS 143 as well. Chennai Center is here working cloud security, the CDAC Center. Delhi Center is looking at international collaboration. Hyderabad Center is really doing some important activities in the area of end system and mobile security. And especially now they are becoming popular in the area of blockchain center of excellence. And now they have worked effectively with Telangana government on establishing the land record management using the blockchain technology. They use the solution called as a proof of existence. So that is something interesting. They are also now helping the for the municipal corporation elections using the blockchain during the elections. So in some sense, it's just latest and it's happening now. So, but they already implemented the use of blockchain for the land record management to reduce the frauds, reduce the duplication of the registration documents, and reduce the changes that can happen in database attacks. So they addressed all such things using the blockchain technology. Kolkata, as I mentioned to you, they are working on steganography and multimodal biometrics. Mumbai in biometrics and SCADA security. Mohali is doing an interesting thing, and the HoneyNet technologies. They have created a HoneyNet nationwide and trying to attract the attackers, new attacks, and so that they capture the signatures, create new signatures, new attacks, and create new signatures and establish a database of signatures. So that is the focus from Mohali. So they're trying to have the national level HoneyNet thing with the various organizations connected to CDAC Mohali. Noida is working on smart card security. So like that, each center has their own thing. And encompassing all centers, they are creating that information security education and awareness program. Trivandrum is doing, over a period of almost now 2 decades, the disk forensics, cyber forensics, etc. And they are the people who were establishing IEEE and helping the Ministry of Electronics in establishing the total infrastructure. This is a small picture of SETS lab that we are working from my lab. This is, I'm bringing, because it's an R&D exclusive lab. If you see in the entire government sector, exclusive R&D lab only working towards the cybersecurity is the SETS lab. There is no other focus for us here. So, though it's a small team of some 15 scientists and 20 project staff, so we are working on the areas of crypto side. We are working on crypto accelerators and post-quantum cryptography. We already got a project from the Ministry of Electronics to develop a digital signature, post-quantum signatures for the document signing. And we are also working for the PKI infrastructure, ECC-based solutions for the certification authority software. Then we are focusing on now hardware security, where if you see the side channel analysis and physically unclonable functions, hardware security module, and true random number generator, and hardware Trojan detection. These are the areas we are working. Side channel analysis is an area which we have already established, and we have done a good amount of work establishing and working on FPGA-based systems and also the smart cards to derive the key that is available using the side channel attacks, using especially differential power spectrum analysis. So we are also closely working on hardware-based post-quantum cryptography solutions. So this is one, crypto and hardware security are the two important areas for us. And in network security, we already developed with ECL, integrated threat management appliance for the NKN requirements. Now we are taking an advanced version of the integrated threat management appliance, which has the lot of solutions integrated into that, right from firewall, antivirus, IDS, IPS kind of solutions, data leakage monitoring, application identification. Such features are available here. And we recently started developing an indigenous virtual private network, looking at the specific needs, the mobile VPN, as well as the site-to-site VPN, using the IPsec level of VPN solution. And as part of ITMA2, we have the SSL level VPN. So the VPN is addressed in both levels, application level as well as the network level. So we just started a new area, artificial intelligence for cyber security. The project management unit was established. A task force was set up under the chairmanship of Professor Ravindran Balraman of IIT Madras, with members from IIT Madras like Dr. Chester and IEEE fellow like Dr. Anand Mohan, and so some of the industry people from TCS, Microsoft, and CDAC. So a number of experts together, they arrived at a task force report and given to the principal scientific advice to the Government of India on cybersecurity for AI and AI for cybersecurity. So both aspects were covered in this. This is just briefly to give you what activities we are doing. So these are some solutions available with us, and we are working on quantum key distribution. So we developed a key distillation engine, and ITMA solution is available. VPN solutions are available. We have a CA software, and we have a true random number generator. So these are some of the areas, as well as the products available. Some of the user agencies are already using them, and we have a good feedback about these solutions. This is just to tell you some small coverage on physically unclonable function, which uses the very minor architectural fabrication differences to create a signature for each hardware device. So this project is being worked jointly by IIT Bombay, IIT Delhi, and Semiconductors Limited, and SETS together to arrive at physically unclonable function chip, which could be used for IoT security in future. This is just a small coverage when you can see the Udayan Ganguly, IIT Bombay professor, who is the chief investigator of the project, is wearing the yellow T-shirt, and his teammate. These are just to give you the SETs keep organizing number of security workshops. These are just 2019 and 20. We have done a lot of webinars, hardware security and visits of people. We established a 6 weeks course on scans, advanced network security course, and we also signing the MOUs with some academic institutes and so on. We have some experts coming like Dr. Atitan, who was a well-known cybersecurity expert from DRDO, delivering a talk and so on and so forth. These are few just examples, just to say that beyond R&D, we need to connect to people, industry and academia. This is just to say my own, based on my experience, that cybersecurity R&D, every R&D, this is the model. What happens is in all R&D labs, the cybersecurity, a team is established, they will get a funding for a project, they will do a project N, and when it completes, they demonstrate to a committee and close the project as an R&D project. Then they move to the next project, the same team, probably new area. We don't even know whether they are into the same area. What is happening is the productization and commercialization is something which, due to the funding resource gap, they are not doing. So this is what we are actually trying to tell government, that you need to continually sustain R&D teams to productize and commercialize. And that part is being worked out. This is just, I am telling you, the cybersecurity R&D outcomes requires this kind of a support, because cybersecurity is a dynamic thing. We can't say a particular project or product is developed and that is useful for the next 10 years. It will change. Immediate needs will be there. OS versions will change. New features will come. New vulnerabilities will come. So we need to do something new. So these are the things which we need to work. This is just to say that a collaborative model, we have organizations like academia, R&D labs, and industry. I just categorized it. It may not be strictly correct, but to some extent, research, invention, innovation, academic institutes will have the best things. R&D labs are good in development, small R but big D. And when you come to the industry, you will have very good productization, commercialization things. If you connect all of them, you will have everything high. So to do that, we need a good collaborative model. So people are now under cybersecurity strategy, they're coming out with a public-private partnership. We do hope that this kind of a thing would come out and establish. So this is a model, a frame, a functional architecture. I'm not going into the details. Basically, it says how R&D labs, industry, government, academic institutes, funding agency, they have to work here. Okay, this presentation will be made available. So just you can see the flow that is happening here. Almost all organizations we are trying to keep here. So this is, till now we just talked about cybersecurity ecosystem, indigenous R&D support that is coming from MIT, Department of Science and Technology. Now, National Cybersecurity Coordinator is also supporting the R&D initiatives, especially in the interest. They are looking at specific national interest. If you are able to address a particular cyber security requirement, they will be funded. That you have to convince the working group or the expert committee. Then you will be getting reasonable funding from them. So you can look at MIT, DST, and the NCSC for definite funding. But banking sector also probably can support through RBI or SEBI kind of organizations also can fund for the requirements. And other than that, Department of Telecom and Department of Space, Department of Atomic Energy, they also would be in need of their own specific requirements. So one has to look at, so the opportunities are available here. I'll just briefly talk about some of these technologies and their importance. So mobile security, this becoming important, and because a lot of vulnerabilities in the operating system, especially in Android, and we have the to address these things. So data leakage, social engineering, Wi-Fi interference, out-of-date services. So these are all the possible attacks that are happening. So we need to. These are all general cybersecurity attacks. Plus, you have, because of the wireless nature, we have additional exploits that are happening. The mobile is becoming a part of network, especially from work from home environment. These devices are becoming, most of the people are using in corporate sector to academic institutes and all that. So of course the corporate sector bringing a lot of restrictions in using the devices. They are configuring, they are giving the laptop and they are configuring such a way that they would these laptops would not create any problem to the corporate their own servers, etc. So the mobile device, as you know, the vulnerabilities that are more, and the social engineering attacks are also more on that. So one has to be careful when you are using the mobile device and getting connected to the IoT. But you can't live without that. But at the same time, you must have proper, the mechanisms to be in place. 5G is coming and 4G is already in place. They have this network slicing, in the architecture where each slice can address a different kind of a requirement. So it could be some communication entertainment, or it is a retail, manufacturing, or something like a medical infrastructure or any application. So these slices can be given with the different levels of service, quality of service. And similarly, probably each service, depending on its level of thing, you can also provide cyber security requirements. Also, you can have different levels of cyber security in this 5G networks. Because unlike up to 4G, 5G actually encompasses the even critical infrastructure. It tries to connect to various applications, various services, new types of services. There is a need to look at in a different way when you come to the 5G network security. IoT is something most talked about now in the cybersecurity arena, because insecure components, IoT, lot many manufacturers, lot many devices, and they are all not come with the security by design. They were designed and being used. Now security has become a concern because of they are being part of the internet. So there are a lot of open ports, and there are not enough logging mechanisms. There is no privacy protection or encryption. So there is no automatic patch management like what happens on laptops and desktops. Hard-coded passwords. That's what the Mirai attack I mentioned. It's all happened because of the hard-coded passwords or default passwords, so which were used effectively by the attacker. So we need to make sure that we are careful in choosing the devices, and we need to make sure that map and monitor all connected devices in a infrastructure IoT. You need to see what are all the devices. You have to map and monitor all connected devices, because there are number of devices are more. So you have to have specific monitoring mechanisms. Most of the time, a group of IoT devices will be connected through a IoT gateway. So gateway becomes a center of attraction for the cyber security. That is, all security aspects you try to make sure that the gateway will have that. Change default passwords and use secure settings. This is another important thing one has to do. And we have to see what are the permissions to be given for each device, whether every device can be given the same permission, and so those accessibility settings have to be taken care properly. And network segmentation. It is very important in IoT devices. So use the segmentation and try to see, even try to isolate wherever cyber attack happens, that part you have to isolate. That particular segment you can probably close. So these kind of things have to be brought in. If you have any unused functions and connections, you have to disable them. These are some of the important things you have to address in IoT devices. I'm not going into this, there is an artificial intelligence which is in which machine learning is subset and deep learning is further subset. And most of the time, deep learning, today we're talking about using the artificial neural networks like CNN networks. So the idea is most of the time now the solutions are, as an example, zero-day attack to identify. We need to do a lot of analysis of the historical data and make sure how the system behaves and identify the moment something new, odd thing happening, how do you identify the learning that already happened is good enough. So whether the supervised learning kind of solutions are good for such things, or an unsupervised learning technique like we need to use. So this kind of aspects has to be thought of in arriving at when you use the AML boom into the cybersecurity. Of course, the lot of activity and everyone now, cybersecurity developer, you first thinks how to use an ML or a deep learning algorithm into his existing solution. This is the order of the day, almost 70%. So remaining people, they are thinking. So this is a kind of a situation. And big data, as you know, is an important area. So big data analytics in the cybersecurity, especially when you have the big corporates and the national level networks, when you have the system logs crossing millions of logs, so how do you address them? Whether you have the security information event managements or centralized security operation centers, SOCs, but everywhere the data is going to be massive, big data. So you need to look at how you use big data analytics. So finally, there are various approaches, but finally you would like to detect fraud detection, targeted attacks, APTs like advanced persistent threats you would like to identify. So this kind of things to do, big data analytics important. In this, probably you need to use AI algorithms as well. And IoT and big data and cloud, these are all interconnected. Like wherever IoT is being there in large number of devices, there's going to be large big data. And because IoT is spread over geographically, the cloud computing happens, probably edge computing also happens. So in this integrated thing, the cybersecurity solutions has a very difficult or complex situation, right? From addressing Internet of Things, a small device to the cloud to a big data kind of systems. When you use big data analytics or algorithms to secure your available log data. At the same time, big data itself has to be protected. So data poisoning should not happen. So if, for example, you create a lot of big data set, and if it is the data is modified, whatever training that you have given to a neural network is not going to properly, see. Something you train to see as a horse, it will show something else. Okay. So this just tells you that AI and cybersecurity are very interconnected. Artificial intelligence enables cybersecurity because the AI solutions like machine learning and all, they can help you to have the very sophisticated intrusion detection systems, sophisticated, for example, zero-day attacks. They can also help you to human analysts to get a better picture of the analysis using the AI techniques. So whereas all AI systems, like for example, there is a medical artificial AI system for a medical drug detection or something like that. So there you have to secure that particular AI system. And if AI system is used for transport sector, you need to protect that AI system should not be attacked. So for that, cyber security of AI system is also important. So there is an intersection of AI to cyber security and cyber security to AI. This is both areas are important, reasonably important. And in fact, there is a IEEE conference happened, I think, a couple of years back. They identified that there are 6 dimensions for the AI and cyber security. One is the human factor, then the operationalization, legal and policy issues, data, software and algorithms, and the hardware. This is entire thing encompasses the AI and cyber security. So these are some of the things like we look at. The behavioral modeling is one of the key things, and zero-day attacks I have been mentioning, APTs, insider threats and attacks. Right side picture, if you see, machine learning, as you know, there are 2 types, supervised and unsupervised. In the large sets of data, In supervised learning, you need a labeled data. Then you can use them for the malware identification and spam detection kind of things. If you have missing labeled data, then you can look at anomaly detection and risk scoring, etc. In unsupervised learning, you can have clustering and association ruling and dimensionality reduction, etc. Finally, you will also use them for the anomaly detection, data exploration, entity classification, and so on. You can tell. I think quickly I will go. This is once again a data deep learning where all we can use malware detection and network intrusion detection, spam identification. These are all the things. There are a number of tools which will support frameworks, and I'm not going into the details. When you come to the hardware side, there is a side channel analysis. Side channel attacks can happen. There is, however, secure your thing. Crypto algorithm, I use AES 256. There is a universal edge to attack that. The present existing computing power will not be able to break it. But by using differential power spectrum analysis, you will be able to, studying this power spectrum, you will be able to see how the various instructions of this processor is getting executed, how much power they consume. Based on those patterns, you'll be able to actually arrive at the key, because these encryption algorithms will have the specific encryption algorithms will have specific patterns like the number of multiplications or number of loops. So based on that, it will consume power. So that could be, if you are able to get the traces of the power of execution of the computer which is having the crypto algorithm, you will be able to actually derive the key. So this is the easiest way to attack a system. Only thing is you must know that, okay, it is using AES algorithm. So this kind of things. So this is becoming an important area to address. Hardware security, you try to look at the side channel attacks, and how our side is, if the attacker is attacking using the side channel methods, using power spectrum or electromagnetic emissions or timing, sound, various mechanisms. So how do we countermeasure? So those countermeasures becomes the research for the people. The SETS is working on the countermeasures. There are other, I will not go once again into this. Meltdown and Spectre are the architectural attacks happen on the most sophisticated processor of all companies, whether you say Intel or ARM or AMD. It is all due to the features that were added into the new process, like they have put the out of order execution or the speculative execution. So in such techniques, when they used these attacks made use of the cache data available in the cache, which was not erased, to make and get the very confidential data and attack these systems. All process in some sense either due to meltdown or Spectre. Spectre is most widely for all advanced processors, whereas meltdown is mostly Intel process. So we need to look at these things architectural level. So architectural patchwork is happening, and they're all providing at OS level. This hardware Trojan detection is, the entire processing, developing a chip, is go through a number of parties. Like when you have a design house is not actually fabricating. Design house gives to another party for the fabrication. So there are various teams involved. So in the entire thing, what is happening is you are trusted because you are designing for your own requirement. But when it goes out of the design house, the fab interface, you do not know who is making the mask and who is developing this packaging and all that. So somewhere the fabrication side or somewhere the third party can introduce a small circuit, which has actually happened in some of the Supermicro servers. As the top right side, the dark part of it says that a small pencil tip size hardware circuitry was introduced into the server board, motherboard, and that was gone into many systems, into the data centers. What has happened is that hardware is actually trying to address the operating system and give through that to a command and control what actions to be taken. So that was recognized, and so this is going to be a very major thing. So it requires a lot of efforts to identify such Trojans that were introduced into the hardware. So the lot of work is happening. Recently, IIT Madras, IIT Kharagpur, and SETS are working together to arrive at some of the solutions. Physically unclonable functions based on the hardware features. can you get a fingerprint which is unique for each chip? As you know, the semiconductor devices, they will have various features like oxide layer thickness or something. No two devices will have the same oxide layer thickness. So there will be small, minutest difference, either it is a nanometers or something. So if you can use those features and generate a fingerprint, no two chips of the same manufacturing process will have the same fingerprint. So that is what the kind of technology used in physically unclonable functions. They were used mainly for the secret key generation and device authentication. I think I'm exceeding the time, so shall I stop here? Hello, sir. Anybody? Organizers?
Yes,
like?
Sir.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I think it may take another 15-20 minutes if I use all slides. But my objective is not to use all slides, but give some idea of the indigenous R&D that's happening in the country and who are all the players. And probably what I am leaving behind is the quantum side. Very briefly, quantum side, because when the quantum computer comes, what happens is Shor's algorithm gives the factoring in the polynomial time, which is otherwise sub-exponential. So the moment quantum computer of sizable thing comes and Shor's algorithm is implemented, existing RSA algorithm and ECC algorithms could be broken in no time. So that is going to create disaster in the entire world. So people are now working on what are the solutions. So use the quantum cryptography or develop some complex algorithms, mathematical systems like post-quantum cryptography, where the quantum computer will not be in a position to actually solve it in a polynomial time at this point of time. So these are aspects people are working on post-quantum cryptography. And for the secure key transmission, key sharing, quantum key distribution systems, I think more quantum communication is advanced now. There are already commercial solutions for sharing the quantum key using the quantum key distribution methods. So they're also developing quantum random number generators. So these are all because they use quantum principles. They're verifiably secure, totally secure solutions. So that's what the quantum is going to be the futuristic thing. Already NIST efforts, NIST challenges were made, and they have already shortlisted number of algorithms to do for the signatures, for the encryption and all that. These are all more or less done, and people started working. Maybe in a couple of years, probably RSA algorithm would not be there for various things, including the PKI kind of things will be using some post-quantum cryptography algorithms. Many of the Indian scientists from R.C. Bose Center, ISI, SETS, Indian Institute of Science, they're all working on post-quantum cryptography because it doesn't require a quantum channel, post-quantum cryptography. It's using mathematical systems like lattices, code-based or hash-based multivariant systems, methods. They can develop new algorithms which are difficult even for the quantum computer. So that for some years we can, until somebody finds some Shor algorithm kind of a thing comes for such methods, until then you can safely use them. As far as the symmetric algorithms, there is a problem because of the Love-Grover's algorithm for search, which is in a quadratic. Square root n, he is able to search using the quantum computer. So you have to develop, if A is 256 is not safe, then you can double it and still be safe. So symmetric algorithms are not that much going to be affected. You have to only double the size of the key so that you will be safely using, even though quantum computer is there. So these are some aspects I thought of covering. There are some more slides. So I'll stop it here, and I can take some questions if you have.
Thank you, Dr. Hello. Thank you, Dr. Sarat, for the elaborate presentation covering entire gamut of cyber security, starting from threats and providing solution, and the initiatives of government and private agencies, and covering the newer areas like mobile, 5G, IoT, cyber physical systems, and including touching about AI, ML, big data. I think almost every portion of cyber security aspect you have covered. In fact, the time what we are given 1 hour, a bit of I know that it is we are not done justice to you by giving just 1 hour. And definitely we look forward for a longer session, possibly a half a day workshop, maybe at a later date. We can plan for it, sir. And we have a few questions. I will ask them. And first one is, what way hardware security is better than software security?
Yeah, this is a tricky question because software security, because most of the time we were thinking that software is having the vulnerabilities at operating system and application level. So we were addressing, and most of the attacks were happening. But recent times, as I told, that meltdown and Spectre attacks happening at the architectural level, and the side channel attacks using the hardware, and these kind of things have started recent times. So till now we were thinking that the hardware is quite reliable, there won't be an attack. That was the premise on which we were working. But now it is not so. Even the hardware, you have to be careful. So you need to have security by design at the hardware level and move ahead of that. So it's important. Till now we have probably ignored, and now we have to focus on hardware security. So
so that relates to equipment what we import from outside India, is it? Basically like Chinese equipment and other.
Yeah, no, I told you about hardware Trojan. The Trojans, if they are there, you will not be able to identify because basic functions are happening. But at a convenient time, that would be collecting the data. Data leakage, it will allow some important data that is happening in your data center or wherever it is. So such attacks will happen if you don't address the hardware security things. It's a very elaborate process on hardware Trojan detection. You have to use the scanning electronic microscopes, and it's like reverse engineering of the chip you have to do.
But you said that we are not geared up for the testing in India, is it? Something like that? We still have...
Yeah, I think that's the focus I think government has to do now. As I told you, SAG, System Analysis Group of DRDO Lab, is addressing the requirements of the defense requirements of cyber security solutions. When it comes to other things, STQC is definitely working towards the common criteria to evaluation of the things. But all labs are not doing. I think we need every lab, at least one lab should be there in every state. And now everyone is asking for, every device more or less now comes with an encryption algorithm. So everyone says that should be having validated crypto algorithm validation or a crypto module validation you have to do. That is WIPS 142 standard. So that there is no lab now. Now only the effort started with the CDAC establishing a lab as an R&D model. That is, they made a pilot. You can go, they will evaluate and give you a report, but that is not there is no compliance. That is, there is no regulatory this thing that mandatory to get from CDAC. So the CDAC is not it did it as an R&D thing, but now it has to be replicated in the test centers. So that has to be done faster.
Okay. Can you elaborate a bit on supply demand for cyber security personnel, and also how we are going to bridge the gap?
Yeah, I think NASCOM report probably tells there are millions of people required by 2025, and even people say that there is a 1.5 times enhancement for every organization, the requirement of cyber security professionals. So there is a need felt, and we don't have enough number of people right now. The requirement, I think now they started all IITs and NITs on MTech level courses on cyber security, and InfoSec, that ISCA program itself funded IITs and NITs to start MTech programs in information security. So, but still it's a very small number. What I feel is many courses have to come with skills development. Like we need secure system administrators. System administrators should have knowledge of using the tools like AI tools now, analysis tools and all that. So there is public-private partnership is required, and we need to national skills development program. I think it's addressing. Industry has to come forward to develop courses and implement. I think probably some of the government labs, CDAC kind of things, they are offering courses, but not enough. Numbers are not enough. So to do that, we need to do, and we are not only, and as per NASCOM, we are not just targeting for Indian requirements. India can play like IT global player. We should also become a global player for securing the systems of global other countries as well. So towards that, I think we should march. That should be the objective. And having core engineering manpower, I think to train them should not be a problem. But the focus should provide.
But we are not able to scale up, right? So basically,
Yeah, scale up is an issue now in that particular time. We are able to scale up in IT. If tomorrow a new technology comes, people are immediately going. Somehow the security is still not taken as a priority. Even forget about security experts. If I am an IT expert, I should develop my code, secure coding. I have to secure coding practices everyone has to use. So security by design has to be implemented. If these things we do in our security, our day-to-day IT solutions, that itself reduces the effect of cyber attacks. But anyway,
exposure,
in fact,
basically now DevSecOps is coming, no? Development, security, and operation all combining together. So now it is DevOps. I think there's a.
yeah,
So can you, SecOps, and can you elaborate a bit on true random number generator? How it is different from classic random number generator?
Yeah, the true random number generator uses something which is like, for example, a temperature that is in the environment. So which is very random, and based on that, how the chip gets heated. So, for example, ring oscillator is used as a basic component in the true random number generator. Its oscillations would depend on the physical parameters, so the temperature or thermal noise. So that becomes the number that is generated true random. Whereas whatever we use in the pseudo random number generators, there is we can't say 100% that there won't be one more number of same thing generated.
How much stress is given for involving the startup in developing security products?
I think this cybersecurity special programs by Ministry of Electronics and IT and Data Security Council of India are exclusively focusing on and encouraging them and generating even the challenges, grant challenge programs also. A number of very important cybersecurity challenges they have addressed, half a dozen areas they have identified, and people are working. I think there are around 100 plus startup companies are working exclusively on cybersecurity, and many of them are working on AI-based solutions. This is I think it's a very quite encouraging. That's what we hear from industry thing and even from the ministry, and what we get from the reports also.
How to convince the management to implement security measures when we can't convince them on return on investment?
I think probably those days are gone now. I think everyone is now aware of the difficulties. Definitely, there is of course, there is awareness programs we should do for the CEO level, right? So that would probably help and tell them the risk assessment with regard to the cyber security attack and risk assessment. So business continuity, even under the things, how they can continue to do their operations, the resilience of their organization. These aspects have to be probably, given them in a very short spell. Maybe the 2-hour programs like IEEE and all that they can conduct for, I think there are CEO meets happen. So that probably we should encourage. And most of the time, it is not like a TCS or a Wipro, they know they are developing cybersecurity solutions, they also take care of themselves. But the small and medium enterprises, they think that nothing happens to them, or it's not why to spend some money, as you rightly mentioned. So there we have to generate that awareness kind of a thing. When it happens, they will struggle, but before that itself, they can take care of it.
Okay. Where can we get guidelines for good cyber hygiene, both at organization and personal level? Guidelines for
CERTIN under Cyber Swachhata Kendra. CERTIN, Cyber Swachhata Kendra, and Ministry of Home Affairs website also has
And CDAC site also there, no? There is one
Like infosecawareness.in.
InfoSec awareness. Okay.
That covers all awareness programs.
Okay. And there is a question regarding collaboration opportunities with sets. Can you give some opportunities to work with sets?
Yeah, as long as I have told we are into hardware security and cryptography in post-quantum cryptography area and certain network security requirements. If anywhere they have the capabilities and there is a win-win situation, we can work together. And especially already we are working with some of the R&D labs and academic institutes. So we have started submitting proposals also with some of the academic institutes. So if there is anything, we can initiate an MOU signing as a first step to look at the common areas of interest, and we will build the relations and move ahead.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. Sarat. And I would like to request Dr. Saktivel to propose a formal vote of thanks.
I also thank from my side, to Dr. Mohan and Shaktivel sir and Subramanian sir for all of you, Akila madam, for giving me this opportunity. I don't know, last time when I gave a talk, you said that the time is not enough, so you gave 1 hour. Sorry, now you are telling one session, so I'm more worried about that. Definitely, it's nice to share. I know that I haven't covered everything in deep. Out of my connectivity to the various organizations and all, I try to give more information. So it's not a technology talk what I have given, it's more informative on what's happening.
At least people are aware what is happening in the country and where we are. Are we self-reliant or still we are dependent on external sources? That is something great to know that a lot of initiatives are happening in the country. But unfortunately, we are not scaling up in terms of generating more security professionals. Even though the security professionals, they get very well paid even in abroad. I think the security professionals get almost 1.5 times the pay when compared to developers. That's what we understand. I don't know, is it the mindset is the problem or why people are not getting into security area?
It's basically, I think there is a feeling that it's mathematical because security means people think about the cryptography, right? It requires a lot of statistical knowledge, linear algebra, and discrete mathematics. That sound knowledge is required. So that is one aspect for the. If you look at one level of people, why they just go away from that. The other is the tools they continually change, new tools they have to learn, and I think that it's only a matter of time. I think our Indian community can easily pick up at least tool management. Skills development should not be a problem. As you rightly mentioned, there is somewhere a little bit of effort on scaling up we have to take. If CDAC does some 1,000 people, it's not enough. You should find some 100 organizations doing 100,000. So like that.
And are there any free courses available for beginners? Is there any certificate courses, free courses?
I don't remember, but definitely you get onto this MOOCs platforms if you go. NPTEL probably has all freely available. Their most complicated crypto side, they have courses. And I think MOOCs platforms like edX and all, they have some free courses. And probably CDAC also has certain courses on CCCS, their e-learning course is their cybersecurity certification program. So most likely it's a nominal fee or it's no fee right now.
Okay, thank you. Dr. Saktivel?
Yes, sir. Good evening to all of you. On behalf of the Computer Society of India Chennai chapter, ACM Professional Chapter Chennai, IEEE Computer Society Madras chapter, I would like to thank today's resource person, Dr. Sarat Chandra Babu, on his excellent and informative webinar on Indigenous R&D in cybersecurity. He has elaborated the various opportunities available in the various institutions and research centers. So it is very useful to all the participants. On behalf of all the societies and participants, our thanks to Dr. Sarat Chandra Babu. Thank you, sir. I would like to thank Mr. H.R. Mohan, Chairman, ACM Professional Chapter Chennai, and Mr. P.V. Subramaniam, CSI Chennai Chapter Chairman, and Dr. Agila, Managing Committee Member, CSI Chennai Chapter, for their excellent and wholehearted support to organize this webinar. And I would like to thank all the participants who attended this webinar through this Google platform and YouTube channel. Thank you all the participants. Once again, I would like to thank all of you for your active support and participation in this webinar. Thank you, Anandal. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And before we formally close today's session, I want to give some announcements regarding our forthcoming program. On 10th, we are having a program on ML for 5G implementation. And then on 12th, we have a program on innovation for the future. And we have already sent the invitations to all our members. Please register and then attend them. So once again, our sincere thanks to Dr. Sarat and all the participants for joining us today's meeting. Thank you. Thank you very much and good night.
Thank you. Good night. Good night to all. Thank you.